When data gets too much to handle, what should we do? How do we go about presenting it? In statistics, when we get a distribution with a lot of entries, we go ahead to group these data in classes. Just like in school, when we line up for assembly, we line up according to our classes. So too, data can be grouped. Here is a distribution which represents the test scores over 50 for 50 students in Mr. Akpan's mathematics class. Presenting each score and its frequency will be very cumbersome, so we will group them up. These classes will have limits called class limits. The class limits represent the minimum and maximum values a class may contain. We have the lower class limit and the upper class limit. The lower class limit is the least number that can enter a class, while the upper class limit is the maximum number that can enter a class. Class limits of a class do not overlap, so one data entry cannot appear in two or more classes. We can conveniently group the scores from Mr. Akpan's class in intervals of 10 from 1 to 50, since nobody scored 0. The lower class limits are highlighted as you can see. The upper class limits are these ones highlighted now. Let's go ahead to find the frequencies of the various classes. For the first class, we have how many scores? We have 8 scores. What about the second class? We have 12 scores. For the third class, we have 15 scores. That is 3/10 of Mr. Akpan's math class. Can you point out the scores that will belong to the next class? If you picked these numbers, then you are good. Therefore, the frequency is 10. The remaining numbers belong to the last class, and the frequency is 5. The table we have here is called a grouped frequency distribution. In subsequent lessons, we will be looking at class boundaries and how they differ from class limits. But we already know that when data is much, it is grouped into classes. These classes have limits which are called class limits, and they are the maximum and minimum values that can be found in a class. To crown it all, we can now draw a grouped frequency distribution table.